Hey guys, it's the Art of the Kickstart, episode number 16.
Welcome to the artofthekickstart.com, where entrepreneurs are constantly pushing the envelope to build businesses of greatness. Inventors are innovating and creating the products of the future, and backers stand strong for what they believe. These are some of the great thinkers, inventors, and leaders of our time. Here are their stories.
Hey guys, welcome to Art of the Kickstart. Today I'm extremely excited to have Maithreyi Gopalakrishnan on the podcast today to share her story and how her company, Surya Conversions, is helping change the world and really empower people throughout the third world with better technology. So thanks so much for coming today, Maithreyi.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you.
So I love to kick off these interviews with a success quote, something you live by that others can learn from. Do you have anything good?
So one thing that inspires me a lot is, it's a pretty standard quote that you hear a lot, but it's definitely something that applies to my company. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. So I really started this company wanting to reduce the high levels of pollution in India. And if we can get just one rickshaw driver to purchase one of our hybrid conversion kits that we're developing, that saves them money. And when they spread the word about it to other rickshaw drivers in India, other people in India, that is just a huge step for India as a whole to be able to reduce the levels of pollution there and bring money back to the pockets of the people that really need it the most. And so I really see that quote as reflecting something that we're doing in our company. And so
it's a beautiful quote, so well said. And we were talking about this before the interview started. The win-win type of businesses where you are helping someone. It's a social entrepreneurship venture that's also a business. How does someone start that? Because it's so appealing to be able to do something amazing for the world and build a business around it. How do you take that challenge?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just think it's really finding something in you that really motivates you and stirs you to bring about some sort of change in the world that you really want to see. For me, it was that, I'd travel to India every other year to see my family. I was born in India and my family lives there. And it really made me sad to see the increasing levels of pollution every single time that I went back. And I wanted to do something about it. And so the best way that I would say an entrepreneur could start a business like this is just going out and seeing the world and seeing what sorts of things really move them to make some sort of change. And then when they find that, do a lot of research into the solutions that have already been tried and tested for solving this problem and what the entrepreneur can do differently to bring about change in a faster, more effective way that's really going to make the maximum amount of change possible. That's how I kind of approached it just from the start. So, yeah.
That's one of the things that I've seen a lot with entrepreneurs. Traveling is really important. It opens up your mind to this entirely new and different world. You can see all of these concepts, these ideas, these challenges you never knew existed. Would that be something you would recommend for people looking to change the world? They want to create something. Is travel one of the top priorities?
I would definitely say so. I mean, I've gained a lot from just traveling and seeing other people and just getting out there and getting out of your comfort zone and going into places that, you may not necessarily be so used to. And that could be, just in the US, there are so many issues in the US that are just needing to be tackled, or across the world. I traveled to India. A lot of successful entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, travel to Africa and other parts of Southeast Asia. There's a lot of challenges that need to be tackled there and other developing countries. So yeah, it's really inspiring. It helps you to learn new culture and to really connect with people across the world. I think that makes you a better entrepreneur and just a more well-rounded person and global citizen.
So I want to play devil's advocate. There's so many problems in the world. Like you brought up, there's so many things that we wish we could fix. How do you choose something to fix? And what makes this worthy of your time when there's so many other issues?
For me, it's what moved me personally, as I said. I hate seeing the amount of pollution that is going on in India. And I have, my whole family there. the amount of illness that's coming about because of the levels of pollution, the environmental damage. And coming from a place like Boulder, for me, Boulder, Colorado, is a very sustainability focused place and has a lot of beautiful nature, and people are very conscious about, sustainability, environmentalism, things like that. And then going to India and seeing a very different approach to sustainability there that may not be working so well right now is something that I really wanted to change. But there are a lot of issues out there, and I think it's just important to find the one that you feel very strongly about. And there are going to be a lot of other people out there that feel strongly about the other issues that you may not be necessarily tackling with your company. So
one of the issues with what you brought up, you're in Boulder, Colorado. People are very environmentally conscious. But as you were saying, that's not quite the same case as it is in India, where people are struggling to survive. How do you sell something, hybrid technology for rickshaws, and make it appealing to them? How do you overcome those barriers when there's so many other issues at hand for them?
So the way that we're approaching it is by making sure our kits are really inexpensive. And the way that we're going to kind of sell our kits to the rickshaw drivers is not necessarily from the environmental standpoint, because we know that this kit will have environmental benefits, but more from the cost saving standpoint. So we say, if you purchase one of our kits and we're going to make it affordable for you, we're going to make some sort of payment installation plan that's going to make it possible for you to purchase this kit, then you're going to save so much money within just the next year. Like, you'll see this money coming back and you can be able to support yourself and your family so much better. And having that opportunity to, save money is what is going to really draw rickshaw drivers to purchasing our kits. And that's kind of what we're thinking. We're going to do some more market research into making sure that's the case. But just from traveling to India and meeting people, it's very cost sensitive and price sensitive. And if we can find a way to save people money, that is something that they really like and they appreciate. And then, the side benefit is that, of course, it reduces a lot of pollution. So we kind of kill two birds with one stone, but advertise our company and our product in different ways for different markets.
So Maithreyi, what would be interesting to me? I originally reached out to you guys because I think I love what you're doing. It has such a great mission to it, and I really believe in it. What if you were to partner with other charity-style organizations like Kiva, other places that realize the importance of this? You're essentially empowering entrepreneurs in third world countries. There are places that people could actually fund other than Kickstarter. Kickstarter is great as well, but other places where people could do that. What are you doing in terms of partnerships and looking into things along those lines?
We are looking at partnerships with a lot of companies in India, like smaller companies. I have not looked into Kiva, and that's a really good suggestion. I'll have to look at more organizations like that. But we are looking at companies like we've already established a partnership with this company called Rickshaw, and they're kind of a startup company like us, and they have a fleet of rickshaws, and their whole mission is to keep people safe. And it's sort of like a call taxi service where people can call up this company and say, hey, I want a rickshaw to come out to me. It's late in the night. I don't want to have to walk home by myself. And they have that service available to them, and they know that they're going to be safe. And they kind of wanted a more green component in their company. And so they have agreed to purchase some of their kits if our prototype is at the standards that they're looking for. So we're looking forward to that partnership. But there are a lot of other small companies in India that do similar sorts of things. And so we're trying to partner with a lot of those organizations. But your suggestion of partnering with a lot of nonprofits that look for, entrepreneurship to seek changes is a great suggestion for sure.
Yeah, I think that could be awesome for you guys. And one challenge that I know you have to overcome. So rickshaws, most of America has no idea what a rickshaw is. That's one of your challenges. You have to overcome that. I remember the first time I ever encountered a rickshaw was an episode of Seinfeld, and Kramer trying to industrialize New York City with homeless rickshaw drivers. How do you get this issue into the American public, into the Kickstarter community, so they can actually see the real harm out there and how your solution can make a difference?
Yeah. the way that we decided to approach it was pictures and videos. So we put a lot of pictures and videos in our Kickstarter campaign video just to show what the rickshaw really is. And this is a problem that I've run into when I tell people about the idea. They're like, well, what is a rickshaw? And I always have to pull up the picture. And then they recognize it because they usually have seen this before, but they just don't know what it's called. And so just, being able to see that. And then we have a lot of clips in our video showing the amount of pollution. Like you can literally see the pollution coming out of the rickshaw. And it's really damaging. You can see how the air is really polluted in India. So getting that video footage is real important. When I travel to India in a week, I'm going to get a lot of footage of how terrible the pollution is and how rickshaws are directly contributing. But you can't really explain the concept with words quite so well as with photos and videos.
Yeah, it's so hard. And one of the challenges you have when you're pursuing social entrepreneurship, you're doing something good and you're trying to reach out to others is, they feel so passionate about it. They totally agree with you. Yes, this is such a big issue, but they don't take out their checkbooks. They don't back you where it counts, how it counts. How do you really get people to commit? What's your call to action for something like that?
Yeah, it's tough. And this is what we've been really struggling with our campaign is a lot of people really like the idea, but it's always tough to actually put the monetary commitment to making it happen. And I think just a lot of persistence and really trying to connect people with the company and with the idea. So, I've been kind of talking about it a lot with my friends, and then some of the rewards that we're offering, they have our logo, and I'm offering like water bottles and stuff like that for rewards so people can be more connected with our company in a way. But it's a very big challenge for sure. We don't have prototypes that we can give out, and they wouldn't use the prototype on any vehicles here, even if they got them. So it's a bigger challenge for sure. But that's kind of the best thing that we can do at this point, and really address the amount of environmental and social change this can bring about, putting in numbers about how much.
Yes, numbers. I was just going to say that.
Yeah. Numbers about how much we can save for rickshaw drivers and how much pollution we can reduce and things like that is huge. That's been what's really got us through our entrepreneurship competitions that we've done. So, yeah.
That's my question, actually. So I don't see a lot in your actual campaign about the numbers, the amount of pollution, the amount of cars equivalents you're taking off the road. I think that's a big selling point to people. People realize that climate change is an issue. They don't really grasp it completely, but if you put something in those words, something like that into there, I think it would appeal to a larger audience as well.
Yeah, definitely. And we definitely put the statistic of, 620,000 people dying every single year as a result of pollution in India alone. And that's a significant amount.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, it is a lot. And it's growing every year. So it's something that we really want to change. And I believe that when I was looking into numbers with our kits, just saving drivers about 33% or so on gasoline, that would take the equivalent of almost like 1 million cars off the road, something like that. I can't remember the number exactly off the top of my head, but it was a significant amount. And so that is kind of the level of change that our kits could bring about. So, yeah.
Put that in there. I think it could help. But I want to jump into the launch round now. Sound good, Maithreyi?
Yeah, absolutely.
Today's Art of the Kickstart podcast is brought to you guys by Audible.com. I love podcasts. I love books. I don't know about you, but I think it's one of the best ways you can possibly get business knowledge and insight into your head, help further your career, further your journey in life. If you guys go to artofthekickstart.com/audible, you can get a 1-month free trial and download of any audiobook on audible.com. Over 100,000 titles. They've sure to got everything you're looking for. And really, what better way is there to take your business to the next level? Whether you're reading Steve Jobs, Guy Kawasaki, there's so many great options. Look at what the greats have done and learn from them. Here we go. Welcome to the launch round, where we take our guests through a series of rapid-fire questions geared towards unlocking the inner inventor and entrepreneur in all of us. Get ready to blast off and unlock your inner potential. Let's do this.
So first question, Maithreyi. What does it mean to be an inventor, and how do you create something amazing?
So I believe an inventor is somebody who's really committed to leaving the world a better place than the world was when they entered it, and really taking that opportunity to catch on to an idea to instigate that sort of change and making it a reality. Inventors have the tools and the ability to really bring about the physical change that's needed. And so they're the ones that kind of determine the future of society. You know, if they invent technologies that can bring about positive change, then they can help to move society in the right direction, which I think is really significant responsibility and opportunity.
That's what we all want. And I love bold predictions on this program. Give me something bold about hybrid technology, transportation technology in the next 20 years. Where do you see it going?
Oh, man, I would love to see all electric vehicles on the roads of America, at least. By 2040, I think there's actually a goal that was set that the government wanted vehicles to be all hybrid powered or electric powered or something by 2040. But I definitely think it's a possibility. I think that what is holding us back right now is just the infrastructure, and also the fact that not a huge portion of the market has caught on to buying electric vehicles. Once that becomes more of a trend, then prices will go down. And once there are more charging stations around the US, then that's something that can really catch on. And I would love to see that. That would be really cool.
Why do you think people fail to support really important issues such as this, like climate change? Is ignorance bliss? Is that the whole equation?
I guess so. I guess the big barrier is really cost. I mean, to make a huge change happen, I mean, the initial developments in a field like this are going to be a little bit more expensive. And it's hard to want to invest that necessarily if you don't know that everyone's going to catch on to it, right? Like, you may be one of the few that pays a lot of money to go and get an electric vehicle. And who knows if those prices are going to go down, if more people are going to catch on, and if you making that purchase is really going to change the world. I mean, you have no idea. And that's the tough thing is just going forward and making that sort of a commitment without knowing that a lot of people are going to follow in your footsteps. And there's actually going to be a huge change made. That's what I've seen, even with things as simple as recycling or composting. People may not.
Can I even make a difference?
Yeah. They don't know that just taking a plastic bottle and putting it in recycling is going to make a huge difference. So they don't really think about that. And that's where I see the issue being in moving sustainability forward.
So I think books are really huge in entrepreneurship and business and in creating amazing things. What have been 3 that have been really influential on you, your life, and your adventure so far?
Let's see. So one that I really liked reading was Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. And I remember the most influential part of this book being the 10,000 hour rule, I think is what it was called, where if you put 10,000 hours into an endeavor that you're pursuing and you really want to make that happen, then you will be more likely to be successful. So the more time that you put into invest into making a goal happen, the more likely it is to happen. And I think Malcolm Gladwell did a lot of case studies on different instances of this, and it really proved to be true. And I'm a huge believer in that. You know, hard work is really what pays off in the end. And, you know, if you go forward with, you know, starting a company and then things don't go the way you want and then you just drop the idea, then you're not ever going to reach that level of success. But if you put all of your effort in and work hard to put in the time that is needed to make the company successful, then it will be. That's something that I really believe in. So that was a good book. I liked Freakonomics.
Ah, yes.
Good book. I just thought it was a really neat book, honestly, about
everything.
Interesting statistics, yeah. And there was this one that I just read, Startup Leadership. So yeah, it's by Derek Liddell. And I really liked this book. It was it was really cool that he laid out pretty clearly what steps need to be taken for a successful company. And he gave a really neat example of Teach for America and how that started, and how just by following this certain methodology of going about starting a company, that you would be a lot more likely to be successful sooner. So there were examples of, people trying to make an established company that would be successful without them a little too early on and not being as involved or something like that. And there's just a very clear process that you can go through that will make it a lot more likely for your company to be successful.
I'm going to jump out of the launch round now and jump back into you and your startup. So you guys have been running for a while, and you still have almost 2 weeks left in the campaign. But if you had to relaunch today, what would you do differently? What mistakes did you make that you wish you could change?
I wish that I had listened to a couple of my team members and taken a little bit more time to launch. I was so eager to just launch and get our Kickstarter campaign out there and start raising funds that I didn't think about how much work beforehand needs to be done to really make a Kickstarter campaign successful and get it out there. So what I found after doing some reading into successful Kickstarter campaigns is that a lot of these people will reach out to the press maybe like 3 or 4 months in advance.
Yeah, it's
and
nuts.
I didn't even think about a Kickstarter campaign 3 or 4 months in advance. There's so much advanced planning that people do for this. It was really incredible to read about what kinds of things people have done. So they've, started reaching out to big news places like ABC and CNN, and just keeping on sending in press releases to show the progress that they made and try to encourage them to get on to these news channels or into the media in some way. And we didn't even have a press release ready at the beginning of our campaign. So that's the sort of thing that I would definitely change. Do a lot more work on the front end so that people know about our campaign already when we start it. And much of our campaign is just spent like reaching out to friends and family and continuing to send out press releases with updates and things like that. That's what I changed.
And it is such a big issue, but so many people struggle with it because you've never done this before. You're learning, and this is a big learning experience for you, for anyone who launches a campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings me to the last question of the interview. You've been an awesome guest. If you had one piece of advice for people that want to go out there, they want to change the world and make something awesome, what would you tell them?
I would say that an entrepreneur should not take failure as an answer for an entrepreneurial endeavor. And I know that sounds kind of cheesy, but I think it's a really important point to emphasize, because a lot of people will say that they had failed companies and things like that. And I think that the important thing to remember is that if you start a company and your idea doesn't catch on as much as you would like for it to, it's not necessarily a failed company. It's just an idea that needs to be redirected. And that's kind of the way that I approach it with my team. And that's sort of the language that I use with my team, is that, we just need to rethink this. We just need to go in a different direction and be really, really 100% committed to this company being successful. Do not ever say, if my company succeeds, say when it succeeds. And that'll give you the drive to ensure that what you want to happen will happen. And that's something I've seen in everything that I've done in my life so far. And that's something that I'm going to take and use in running this company. And I'm not going to give up if this idea doesn't necessarily take off in the way it would. I just want to rethink it. So yeah, don't take failure as an answer, because you can be successful as long as you persevere and just be open and flexible to rethink your idea. Another thing that I would say is I just talked to a CEO a couple weeks ago of a couple of successful companies actually. And he said, you can have a B-level idea and be a successful company, but if you don't have an A-level team, then you're not going to get anywhere. So just getting the right people on the bus to work with you that will stay committed to making your company a success is probably the most important part of starting a company, in my opinion. So yeah, that's my advice for a budding entrepreneur.
Mindset and teamwork. That's everything. That's what matters. Thank you so much for coming on today, Maithreyi.
My pleasure.
You've been such an awesome guest. Give yourself a little pitch, a little plug. If people want to reach out to you, they want to see your campaign, which they should because you're changing the world. What do they do? Okay, well, so just type into the Kickstarter search bar. You can type in Surya Conversions. So that's spelled Surya, and conversions, like a conversion kit. So just type in Surya Conversions and it'll come up. I'm pretty sure it's the only Surya Conversions in Kickstarter. And yeah, just, click on one of the pledge links and donate to our campaign. We would really, really appreciate your help. And so our vision is to bring clean energy transportation to people across the world, and not just for people that are of a higher socioeconomic status, but to people everywhere. And that's what we're really emphasizing. So just go onto our link and please donate. We only have 12 days left in our campaign, and we really would appreciate this money to work on our prototype more. So yeah. Guys, they need the push. This isn't some sexy wallet, some little keychain or anything like that. This is something to really help change the world. Check them out. Donate if you want to. It's amazing. I'm sure you can probably write it off. If not, I didn't say that. So have an awesome day, guys. And thank you so much for coming on today, Maithreyi. Absolutely. Thank you. It was a pleasure to talk with you.
Thanks for listening to another episode of The Art of the Kickstart, where we believe makers, inventors, and entrepreneurs are changing the world and bringing humanity forward into the future. I'm your host, Matt Ward, and it's been a pleasure guiding you through this journey of creation and innovation. I hope you're inspired by this and check out artofthekickstart.com to get more information and tactics to help you launch your own business, product, and dreams.